Hello students and viewers, this is a Teta from Morogoro. My name is BASUKU NYABENDA. I'm going to share with you on the topic, the Form 4 topic, listening for information, and the subtopic is giving instruction. Yeah, maybe I should know what is instruction, or what you get in your mind when you hear the word instruction. What comes to your mind? Anyway, shortly, instruction is just direction or order. Direction or order. Or someone can define instruction as a detailed information which shows how something should be done or should be performed or operated. That's the definition or simple definition of instruction. Yes. I'll give you some examples of instruction. You can be given these instructions either at school or at home. Let's say you are at school and then your teacher say, put off the light. Or you can hear, open the window. Read, you are in the examination room and then the teacher will say, read the instructions carefully. Or maybe you will be told to keep quiet, especially you're in the library or you are somewhere, you're in the class, the teacher can say, keep quiet. You are in the examination room, you are doing mathematics, the teacher, you can find the instruction which tells you to solve without using tables. Keep silence, that's in library. So you can find the instruction, it can be written and posted, or maybe the librarian will tell you to keep silent, that's an instruction. Or don't touch anything in the laboratory without any permission. These are examples of instructions which you can come across in your daily basis. Okay, now maybe I should ask you, can you follow instruction? You know, we are having these people who in most cases fail to reach their destinations simply because they failed to follow the instructions. And maybe in some occasion, even you in the laboratory, in the library, at school, at home, you might have made some mistakes simply because you failed to follow the instructions. Can you follow the instructions? Now I will test you a little bit. I'll be having this simple game. I want to test you, and before I start my test, may you take a piece of paper. May you take a piece of paper, you can use a piece of paper, or if you don't have that one, you can just use your normal exercise book that you are using right now. Now take that one, I'll give you some instructions. Try to follow my instructions, one after the other. I'm having at least 11 instructions that I'm going to give you. At the end, you will see if you have followed the instructions or not. You see, number 1, read everything before you do anything. Read everything before you do anything. Number 2, put your name in the upper right hand corner of your paper. Put your name in the upper right hand corner of the paper. Number 3, draw 4 small squares in the upper left hand corner of the foolscap. Number 4, draw a circle around each square. Draw a circle around each square. Number 5, sign your name at the bottom of your page. Sign your name at the bottom of your page. Number 6, on the back of the page, multiply 80 times 60. At the back of the page, multiply 80 times 60. And number 7, loudly call out your first name when you get to this point in the test. I just need to call your first name loudly if you have reached that stage. Wow, that was good. Number 8, do you think you have carefully followed the directions? Lift your hand. If really you know that you have followed all the directions that I gave you before, lift your hand. Number 9. On the reverse of the paper, add 294 and 786. I know you are good at mathematics. That's not a very big deal, okay? You must have finished. Thank you very much. Last but one, underline the answer to the problem. Underline the answer to the problem. Wow, you have done it. Now you can shout out and say, I am the reader in the following instructions if you are the first to do that one. Thank you. Having seen those instructions, I hope you can just go through what you have written to see if at all you followed me carefully. Now, after that, I'll give you a certain short story. I'm having this short, simple story which is titled A Grandchild. There's this old man, there's this old lady, a grandmother, who lost a grandchild. She was very furious. She had to visit the hospital, and at the hospital she was very mad at the doctors. Now I'm going to give you this short story. Go with me for the story, because at the end you have to answer some questions. Yep, here we go. Here we have the conversation between the grandmother and the personnel at the hospital. When the grandmother reached the hospital, at the OBD, met the nurse, and this was the first thing she asked. Where have they placed the body? Nurse was not aware of any body. Very perplexed, stuttered, shocked, and he asked, which body? The grandmother answered, still in anger, my granddaughter, the one doctors cut up yesterday, she came to give birth, but now she's no more. Where is the baby they cut up? Please, my son. You can see the grandmother is very angry to the doctors. And so the nurse instructed, oh, sorry, ma'am, if it's a baby they cut up, it must have been kept in the room at the end of the corridor. Turn left and you will see a pink door. Knock, someone will assist you. And so the nurse tried to instruct the grandmother to follow the corridor to the end and turn left. Then she will see this pink door, and after knocking, there's someone in the room who will help, who will come for assistance. Now the grandmother walked, following the corridor to the end of the corridor. She found the door she was instructed to follow. I'm looking for my grandchild, the one they cut up yesterday, the grandmother demanded. You see, and the mortuary attendant said, sorry ma'am, we don't keep babies here. Try the door opposite. The grandmother was shocked and in anger, still in anger. But the nurse said it was a pink door. Isn't this pink? You see, mortuary attendant said, yes, it is. Maybe he meant red, which is the nursery. This is the mortuary, and there is no baby here. You see, now you have seen the story of the grandmother to these personnel or personnel of the hospital. She was given instructions to follow. She followed the instructions. Unfortunately, some instruction or some information she was given were wrong, or some information she was giving were wrong. As a result, she ended up in a place or in a destination which she didn't expect. Having heard of the story now, I'm going to give you at least 3 questions which you can brainstorm while I got finished my topic. Those are some questions you can brainstorm with your friend. If you are sitting, you are two with your friend, you can do pair share, discuss and get some answers. Yeah. You see, what could have led to the misunderstanding? What do you think could have led to this misunderstanding. Okay? Also, what do you think had actually happened? Because in the story, we don't know what happened, but I think by the story you have just heard, or you have just watched right here, or you have heard, you can tell us what you think might have happened actually. Do you know where failure to follow instructions led to fun or disastrous ending? Can you try to share with your friend? Can you discuss with your friend? Or can you discuss alone in your head and try to get the answers? Yes, I know you are discussing, but I'm having my possible answers you might be having. For example, yes, maybe the misunderstanding was because of provision of wrong information. For example, you can see that the grandmother asked for a baby instead of a body of the deceased mother. And you see, what happened exactly? In the story, as you read, you come to realize that the grandmother had lost a granddaughter who died during deliverance. That's what happened exactly. Now you can see that where did the failure to follow instruction lead to that fun ending? You can see that the grandmother was directed to nursery instead of mortuary. Yes, thank you. I know that you must have, understood. But before I leave you, I have to give you the very, very important tips to follow when you give instruction. I know today you are the student, today you are just viewing, but next time you are the one to give instruction. I think it's necessary if I show you how to give instruction to others. There are some important, I'll give you 5 tips. 5 important tips to follow when you give instruction. Number 1, with these important tips, be clear on the purpose of the instructions. Be clear on the purpose of the instructions. If you want people to follow a certain way to find a place, then you have to be very clear. If you are giving instruction on how something should be performed, it must be very clear. Secondly, you have to use simple, clear sentences. Don't use crooked language. Don't use vocabularies. You have to be straightforward to the point. Should have to be simple, clear sentences. Third, you have to organize the steps well. Don't put steps upside down. The steps must be organized well and cover each step fully. If you give a half-cooked information, you won't reach the destination you are looking for. If you were giving, for example, you are giving the procedure on how to cook ugali, if you didn't arrange the steps in good order, that means this person will never achieve cooking ugali. So you must follow the instruction. You must cover the steps fully. The last but one, you have to allow time for the listener to ask you questions. You know, sometimes it becomes very hard. You give instruction, blah, 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 and you don't give time for a listener to ask you some questions. As a result, what you get is not what you expected, simply because there was no time for the listener to ask you questions. So you have to allow a listener to ask you some questions where he or she didn't understand well. And lastly, you have to give a chance to the listener to cross-check, to repeat the instructions, so that you are sure whether the listener got the whole instruction correctly. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Welcome again, once again, in the next lessons. Thank you.